Alright guys, once we have our Excel minor analysis tool pack, there are a couple things that we're going to use it for. First thing is descriptive statistics, and then the second thing is histogram. So what we'll do, we'll come over here to descriptive statistics, and we will come over here to the input range. Yours is probably going to be blank here. The input range is basically the data set that you want to analyze. So the data set that we want to analyze are all of our measurements that we took for our blocks. So we're going to, you notice when I selected these, I left clicked, I held down, and I drag all the way down to select whatever I want. So and then I click in this box and it should copy it over. So B2 to B34 in this case. Okay. The output range is going to be like, where do I want to put these descriptive statistics, right? So I'm going to come down here underneath all this stuff. I'm going to choose a cell, and then I'm going to click inside the output range box. And so it changed that to A43. Put it wherever you like, but really you want to keep working down. That way when you turn in your PDF file, if you put it too far over this way, like past the F column, it's going to cut your page in half and I won't be able to view it. So we're going to keep working down. So our output range, that means it's going to put the statistics there, and I want the summary statistics. Okay, that's the main thing that I'm looking for. I'm going to hit OK, and then it gives me a lot of information here. So I'm going to rename this. I'm going to double click in this cell, and I'm going to rename that descriptive statistics. Alright, so there's a couple things that are useful here. We've got the mean, which is the average. We've got the median and mode, which you've probably learned about in math. You've got your kurtosis. You got skewness. We're interested in skewness. Skewness is where if you have some data on a graph or a chart, then it might be skewed to one side or the other. So we'll look at that in a little while. The range is the difference between your minimum and maximum value. So if we subtract these, we get this. And basically, this is your smallest block, right? And this is your largest block. The sum is if you lined up all your blocks, or all the measurements that you took. If you add them together, you get this distance. So just over 2 feet here. Your count is total number of measurements. In our case, we had 33 blocks, so this should be 33. And then, again, your largest and smallest is basically your minimum and maximum value here. Alright, so we've got our descriptive statistics. The next thing we want is a histogram. So we're going to go over here to histogram. We're going to choose input range. Again, we're going to choose all of our measurements. Okay, make sure you have all of your measurements. Click in the input range so it copies it. So you should have B2 to B34. Your bin range is going to be all these bin measurements that we took. So we're going to select these. Make sure you click in the bin range. So D2 to D15. Alright, and then we'll come down here. We'll click in this cell here. Our output range is where we want to place this histogram. So we're going to choose that. Okay. I'm going to choose chart output, and I'm going to hit OK. And it gives me my bins, and it gives me the frequency, and it also gives me my histogram here. Okay, and I can move this down here if I need to make it nice and neat. And so what is this? So this means that basically I have one block that's 0.745, right? I have 4 blocks that are 0.747. I've got 3 blocks that are 0.748, so on and so on. You should be able to glance at that and look at your original data set and kind of make sure that it's correct. If it's not correct, you might want to undo a few steps and kind of go through that last process again. This histogram is a visual representation of my blocks. So what's cool about this is I can actually go up here to the option. If I click on the histogram, I can go up here to these options and I can edit this chart, and it lets me manipulate it a little bit. So I can actually customize this, and I can go to, let's do the horizontal axis. This part goes this way, and I can see what we can do here. Oh, okay, here, this is what I'm looking for actually. Grid lines and ticks. So I want to show on the horizontal axis, I want the ticks. That's going to actually help me visualize which blocks these are. So you can see this is one block that's 0.745. This is 4 blocks that are 0.747, right? We've got, what, 7 blocks that are 0.750. So this is helpful. You kind of get a visualization of where our blocks fall. Now your data might look totally different than this, and that's okay. All you want to worry about your data and what blocks are best for you. It's going to be different than your partners or your neighbors. Don't worry about that. So if we take this, we've got our descriptive statistics up here, okay? And we can kind of look at this, and we can start deciding which blocks we're going to get rid of, right? So we can kind of tell, you can kind of tell right off the bat, we're probably going to end up getting rid of this one, this 0.758, because it's way over here, right? And we're probably going to end up getting rid of this 0.745, but we'll see. So we could sit here and we could start marking these off from our average. So our mean is 0.750. So we want blocks that are as close to this line as possible. Yours might be different. Your average block size might be right here, right? So we want a bunch of blocks that are close to this. It just depends. So we could start marking these off, start making our way out, and pick the ones that are furthest away from the mean. Another way to do this is to grab our block numbers in our measurements, and we can right click and copy that. We can bring it down here, right click and paste, okay, and we can actually, while these are highlighted, we can come up here to format, actually data, go to data, sort range, hover over sort range and go to advanced range sorting. And so it's asking, do I want to sort this range that I've chosen? And I do, but I want to sort these by this column. So column B. So I change this to B. That way I can sort them from, I want to go least to greatest on block size. So I'm going to go A to Z. If I wanted to go greatest to least, then I would go in descending order from Z to A. But this time I want this one. I'm going to say sort, and you'll notice it sorts all the blocks. So now I know block number 7 is my smallest block. So that's that one over here. I know my largest block is block number 9, right? And so that's block number 9. And I can actually highlight these now, and I can do some other things. I can right click on that data, and I can here, there we go, view more cell options, go to conditional formatting. I could do a color scale if I want to. So I can go from, you know, green, I could do green, white, and red. Click on that, and now all of a sudden I've got smallest blocks, largest blocks, and they're color coded. However, be really nice if I could color code that from the midpoint, right? So my midpoint is going to be, I'm going to change this to number, and my midpoint is going to be 0.750. Okay, now when I look at this, I start to see, okay, these are pretty far, this one's really far off, these are pretty far off, this is really far off, these are pretty far off, right? And I know that my 2, 3, 4, I know that this is my midpoint. So, or my mean, my average rather, I'm sorry. And I know if I go in this direction, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, takes me 14 tries to get up here, right? Or spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There. So I know that these blocks automatically are way out of my range. So I'm going to highlight those in yellow. These are definitely going to be outliers. Okay, so I know these are going to be outliers. So now I need to decide, you know, do I want to get rid of this? I need 2 more because I have 4 outliers, right? I need 6. I need to get rid of 6 blocks. So do I want to get rid of this one? Or do I want to get rid of 2 of these, right? So this goes back to my, I'm going to go back and look at my skewness. My skewness is actually skewed to 0.49. Okay. So I'm actually skewed in this direction over here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this block because it's really far away, right, from my center point. And I'm going to get rid of this block. I'm just going to get rid of 1 on each side because these are right in the middle now. So I'm going to get rid of this block. I'm going to highlight it. So now that I have my outliers, I can go back to my physical bag and I can get rid of block number 7. I can get rid of block number 31, block number 2, block 12, block 19, and block 9. For yours, it's going to be totally different. But then that will leave me with 27 blocks that are very similar to the same size. And then when I glue those together to make my puzzle pieces, they should fit together correctly. Okay? So you're going to save this. Once you get to this point, you're going to go to File, and you're going to go to Download, PDF, and then you'll notice that all of my stuff fits within the page. I don't want some of my data to be cut off over here. So that way, when I go to check it, I can just scroll down and look at your stuff. So we're going to export. Actually, let's see if we can do it this way. Yeah, we're going to do it portrait mode. And then export. And then this PDF is what you're going to submit into your assignment, your Schoology. So I'm going to go over here to my drive. I'm going to drag this into my drive somewhere, into my IED folder or whatever, wherever you keep your files or whatever. Okay? And then submit it into Schoology. All right. Bye.